Hey Herpers, what's going on? I'm Herpin Hippie, but the snakes just call me Joe, and today I figured I'd show you something that's not a snake, or even a reptile for that matter. Today I wanted to show you, it's actually one of the only wild-caught specimens that I have in my whole personal collection. I normally don't take anything from the wild, but I found this particular animal with an injury, and I didn't know as much as I thought I did about them when I first found it, so I thought, well, I'll take this animal in, I'll take care of it, and we'll get to watch it recover, and it'll make a cool video series, and then I can re-release him after he's better and can go back to the wild. What I found out when I got home, though, was that this plan wasn't going to work because this animal wasn't going to get better. It was missing an arm, and I thought that it would grow back, and that is not the case for this particular type of arachnid. That's right, today's video isn't a snake or a lizard. It's actually going to be the first time I am featuring an arachnid on the channel. Now, I've had this particular one for a few years. I swear he knew what I was doing because as soon as I started talking, he came out. So that right there is Captain Hook. I call him Captain Hook because he is missing his left arm. You can see the right arm there. He's got a nice healthy stinger still. But I found him while walking around in the desert. He was partially crushed under a black grocery bag, and so when I went to just pick up the trash, I saw him go scurrying out from under it. And that was also when I noticed he was missing an arm, and I was aware that if spiders and most other arachnids, which scorpions are a type of arachnid, when they lose their limbs, usually they'll end up regenerating them as they molt their skin. They can grow back whole legs after losing them, and usually it's not a permanent thing to lose an appendage. And I thought scorpions being arachnids might be the same way, so I decided I would take him in. It was also really hot. He was hiding under a black bag, and I think he was already a little dazed from the sun, and there wasn't anywhere else for me to really go toss him in a hole or know that he would do well, and I didn't know how recently he had lost this arm, so I decided to take him home. I thought he would regenerate that arm over time, but after I started doing a little bit of research to make sure that I was going to be taking care of him properly, I ended up finding out that no, in fact, scorpions don't end up regenerating arms like other arachnids do. So I took him in, planning on filming the process of him kind of regrowing his pincher, and now I know that that's not going to happen, so what now? 3 years later, I'm still taking care of him, and he seems to be doing great, even though he has never grown that pincher back. Oh, that's Spot saying hi. How you doing, Spot? Don't worry, I'm not messing with you today. But I am going to be feeding and attempting to take out Captain Hook, my desert hairy scorpion, today. So if that sounds interesting to you, hit the like button and stay tuned. Alright, turning away from Spot the Western Diamondback rattlesnake. Luckily, I think he's finally decided to quiet down, and we'll zoom on in on Captain Hook now. He's just starting to move around some more, and I think it's because I put that aquarium light up there to give you a little bit more light in the enclosure and hopefully make it easier to see him eat today. I normally don't keep this enclosure lit, and that's because he spends most of his time hiding. He really only comes out if I'm trying to feed him, or if I just misted down his enclosure to give him some water. But other than that, he doesn't really come out in the open, and he kind of tries to avoid the light, so I don't bother lighting his tank most of the time because this room is plenty warm without it. But as you can see, I'm just trying to approach him from a distance with the worm. I don't want to throw it right in his face because chances are he'll get afraid of it if I do that. Yep, just like that. There he is with his back turned to me now, and I'm going to try just doing the same thing, just try to put the worm in front of him so he'll happen across it and maybe feel like he found it. There you go. Alright, give it a sting. And I'm so sorry the camera slipped and I missed it. He didn't sting it, but he did go for it with his claw. You can see where he's pinching it just behind the head with his claw right now. And I still don't think he ever stung it at any point, unless it was so fast that I blinked and missed it when I was trying to catch the camera. But you can see here, this is one of the things he kind of struggles with since he is missing that left arm. You can see how he's gripping the head of the worm with his right claw, but his left claw isn't there, and he's having some difficulty bringing the worm to his mouth. You can see he's trying to bring it up to it. He's trying to move his face towards the worm, and the worm keeps moving away. But it looks like by wedging himself in the corner and then using that chunk of wood, he was able to kind of push it into his face. And now he's starting to get some good bites of that worm. Good job, Captain. So as you can see, he does have some challenges because he's missing that left arm, but nothing that stops him from eating. And like I said, I've had him in this condition now for about 3 years, and he seems to be doing absolutely fine. Anyway, I'm going to speed up this footage to 3 times the normal speed so you can see what it looks like when a scorpion eats now, and so I can give the voiceover a bit of a rest. By the way, please let me know in the comments how the audio on this video sounds. I'm using a brand new microphone today, and I had some technical difficulties getting it set up. So if it sounds a little tinny today, if there are any other issues, let me know in the comments so I change my settings for the next video. But as promised, here's Captain Hook making a very slow meal of that super worm, sped up 3 times the normal speed. I'm really hoping that he eats it all and fills up, because next I'm going to be trying to pick him up for the first time in probably over a year. So I want him to be full and in a good mood. This time lapse goes on for just over a minute, so if you don't care about watching the scorpion eat and just want to skip to seeing if I get stung when I attempt to pick him up, you can skip to around 6 minutes and 30 seconds. Alright, and I wish I could leave my camera running on him longer so I could do a full time lapse of him eating that, but it has already been close to 10 minutes, and I unfortunately have an appointment and don't want to leave my camera running with the scorpion cage open, so this is where I'm going to call it. But when I come back, I'm going to check to make sure that he finished eating that whole worm, and then I'm going to see how he feels about being picked up for the first time in years. But in the meantime, I'm going to get that closed. I don't think there's any possible way he could crawl up the glass. I've never seen him get any traction on it, but I do like to just seal that with a little bobby pin there to keep it from opening, just in case I bump it or putting the light back on, I crack it open. I don't want there to be any way he escapes. And then, just because I know I'll get some comments about it before I leave, I figured I've got my black light right here. I would show you that they do glow in the dark even in captivity. Alright, it is the next morning, and as you can see, Spot is still just as grumpy as ever. Don't worry, I'm not messing with you today either. But right over here is where Captain Hook was munching on that super worm, and I do not see it anywhere. I think I do see him. Yep, he's looking at us from that back corner. I'll get a peek in and see if he dragged that worm down there or if he finished it. I'm guessing he's finished it by this point. Alright, so now I mentioned at the beginning of this video, let's see if he was interested in coming out and saying hi. This is going to be like only the second time in a few years that I have attempted to pick up Captain Hook here. You can see he's posturing with his tail. He is very unsure about this, and what's funny is when I first rescued him, he was so dazed from the sun and probably so out of it from recently losing an arm that he let me pick him right up. I thought I was going to have a relatively friendly scorpion, but here we are all these years later. I've been taking care of him, and he's, well, as you can see, it looks like he just wants to kind of kick my butt right now. And if anybody has scorpions at home, and if you ended up on this video because you're trying to figure out how to pick up your scorpion, maybe it's a black forest or emperor or something like that, but you've got a cool new scorpion, he's standoffish, and honestly this is probably one of the better ways that I've found, is just making your hands something in the environment, waiting for them to eventually crawl on it and realize that the floor isn't lava when it starts moving. You can see he is very alert still. I'm going to slowly move my hand back, let him know it's not a threat. And maybe I can just try scooping him up from behind. Now, if he were to sting me, I'm not speaking from experience here. I've never been stung by a desert hairy scorpion like Captain Hook here. Oh, there we go, I got him. But I am told, oh, don't fall, buddy. But I am told that their stings are kind of comparable to a bee sting. But like I said, and as you saw, he was not too eager to come out, and so I do not make him come out. I've had him for a few years. You can see a better view of that missing claw now, and it hasn't affected his quality of life at all. I feed him usually a couple times a month, nothing too crazy. These guys will get real fat if you feed them more than that. But he lives a completely normal life, and I am thrilled that he has not stung me today. You're really being a gentleman. Oh, don't fall. Alright, I'm gonna put him back down. Maybe. Well, he's crawling up my arm, and I only have one hand because my other hand is manning the camera. Will you please get off my arm? Alright, it would seem that Captain Hook lives on my arm now. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, make sure to leave a like and a comment. It really helps out with the algorithm. And like I mentioned, I consider myself barely an expert on reptiles. I've worked with them for years, and I know just enough to know that there's still a lot more for me to know. I do not— oh gosh! He jumped. You okay? Well, alright, he's good. That's why I was holding my arm over that. I thought he might go any minute. But as I was saying, and as that small drop perfectly punctuated, I do not consider myself much of an expert on scorpions or really invertebrates of any kind. So if you have some cool facts you think I should know, or some information you want to share with me in the comments, please let me know. This is an area where I could definitely learn. And if you enjoyed getting to meet Captain Hook and want to learn more about scorpions in the future, I can talk about what makes their skin glow, I can talk about care and general stuff like that. If you've been watching my last few videos, you know that this channel is going through a bit of an evolution right now, and we're finding our footing and figuring out what exactly is going to be on this channel. So this is your chance to tell me what you want to see and how to make this more of a fun experience for you. And I'll get that lid on, and I'll get the bobby pin back in place so there's no possible way for that to slip open, even if he managed to climb up to the top. I don't think that's possible. But anyway, I think that does it for Captain Hook. And with that, thank you so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, drop a like. If you didn't, drop a dislike and let me know what I can do better next time or what you want to see in future videos. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week. I hope you're able to regrow all of your lost appendages, but most of all, I hope that you keep herping.